I'm not a very political person, and even if I'm a registered Democrat and I voted for the first time for local officials at my middle school recently, I don't really like intending to bring a lot of politics onto my channel, though on the count of my actual political views, I will admit that I have walked on both sides of the political spectrum, both Democrat and Republican. The truth is that I had a lousy upbringing. The truth is that I lived in a moderately conservative household. Despite my dad being a Democrat, my mom enforced her support of the Republican Party more when my father left. When I was 9, I became fond of Donald Trump when he announced that he'd be running for president for the 2016 election. Back then, I thought he was cool and cool enough to definitely win because he was a celebrity and such. His funny personality and iconic look made me think he was the Superman of America despite being a rich real estate mogul, and it made me completely overlook the opportunity to make history if I voted for his opponent, who would have been the first female president of the United States. Well, that opportunity never came, and 9-year-old me got what I wanted when Trump was finally elected to the president of the United States. At first, I thought he would do pretty cool things now that he's in office, but for the next 4 years to come, it was getting pretty lousy. I mean, holy crap! This guy was annoying! He advocated to remove the rights of anybody who was not like him. He catered to an ugly majority of hillbillies, and he was an overall douchebag with no regard for anybody who argues with him. Yes, it's true he created jobs, but he was working his way to become the official lolcow of American politics because of his bitching and complaining and careless acts. It even made me start to think that Donald Trump was probably a better man before he became president. And he still could have been way better if he never ran in the first place. A great billionaire like Warren Buffett with a sense of humor, sure. I mean, his father and mentor was way worse. But I soon found out that he was a grifter, a manipulator, and overall, a dick to our troops. Now let's move forward to the current year where Trump is still gunning for his second term and how he's facing against another woman running for office. As for me, my views on abortion being abolished faded away, but I still want to own a gun. I've been a bit centrist with my views a few years ago, but they're starting to lean more to a proper direction. Like how I think we should stop funding genocide and focus on the main problem in Gaza other than bombing thousands of kids in your way to solve it. I will say, however, that the Democratic mayor for our city fucking sucks, and that his Republican opponent was slightly better than him. Sorry, I know this might be one of the most political moments in any of my videos I'm having right now, and I still stand by my current decision not to include politics into any of my videos. But as of right now, this nation is more divided than ever this season. So in celebration of this upcoming election day, I thought it would be a good opportunity to review something political, and it just so happens to be one of the most unique pieces of indie animation I've reviewed so far. Ah! What's that? Progress! It's the new norm!
The new norm ain't the same as the old norm.
I'm the old Bohemius. I want normal indie animation. Please excuse my adopted bootleg Spider-Man plushie I won from a claw machine. Spider Kid. Goody Man! Damn it, Spider Kid, why did you replace my Celsius? You know I was thirsty before doing the review. Sorry, Daddy. I thought you needed to change your diet and as a person, so I replaced your energy drink with woke energy. Yeah, but really? Sis-ius? What sense does it make? I mean, can't you just call it straight-ius? Like straight up direct, dodge straight? You know I'm not used to these terms. But you're the one who had that big meltdown in the Twitter space last week. I gently suggested, yelled, they should understand that trans girls are girls, and trans men are men. Oh, and that Sonic Generations should have better keyboard compatibility. See? That's the problem! You may think of yourself as a smart critic, but you're so dumb to still think that most 3D Sonic games should be also played with a keyboard. They're supposed to be enjoyed with a controller, damn it! Well, I guess that's the reason why I only own, like, 4 Sonic games on Steam. Sorry about the interruption, folks. I guess you didn't expect that at all. But anyways, let's talk about the new Gnome show. Earlier this year, conservative journalists and influencers wanted to find a way to project their agenda onto the broader demographic of people who watched television in an attempt to re-educate and reform the youth and the curious adults from their polar opposite stance of things, are simply referred to as wokeness. Their solution? To make an animated adult sitcom to push these beliefs with a sense of humor. And just like that, 2 shows entirely sprawled onto the scene later that spring. One was a show that premiered exclusively on the conservative media outlet The Daily Wire, based on comedian Adam Carolla's fictional school teacher character, Mr. Burcham, and the other was a smaller indie project that was set to exclusively air only on Twitter, or as this show refers to as X. The New Norm, the latter of which sparked a major upbringing on the website prior to its pilot's release. And after the pilot was created, the popularity tremendously skyrocketed, with fan art made out of it, memes, YouTube oops, shitty dubs, and more infamously, yaoi visualizations that are usually between Norm and his black friend Charlie. Yes, people wanted to make gay smut out of this shit. Now, before the pilot's release, the marketing for the new Norm was really abstract. It started with an AI-generated video that portrays Norm in a courtroom being sentenced by a local politician for making fun of her. Then an older video resurfaced online which shows a very limited animation of Norm and Charlie cheering for their kid as they participate in the Olympics, with Joe Rogan interviewing them. It looked weird because there weren't any outlines on Norm and Charlie, unlike with them in the pilot, which is less than 4 minutes long. But let's go back to the aforementioned pilot, with all of this insane marketing for it, being advertised as the first animated sitcom on X. Is all of that really worth it? Could this conservative slice of life drama hold potential to be Twitter's first ever indie animation series? Is it that bad amidst the controversy? Or is it surprisingly well planned out? Even if politics are not really my specialty for this channel or series, I think this show would be a bit interesting to dissect for the sake of Indiehemius continuing over a 3-minute pilot. So considering that this is supposed to be a conservative ripoff of Family Guy like Mr. Burcham, except more inspired by the likeness of All in the Family, we can already expect that people are not gonna like it, and that they'll assume there is many problems concerning the new Norm. But what good can we separate from the bad? Are there any redeeming qualities to this political cartoon whose beliefs I don't stand by? Well, upon closer examination, I can think of a mere few. One of the very few good things about the new Norm's pilot was that it was animated. You see, the animation isn't really impressive at all, but they did showcase the storyboard work as part of their behind-the-scenes footage on Twitter, which proves that the new Norm was mostly made naturally by actual human beings at this time. I find it ironic that the fake celebrity cameo they idolize pushes the agenda of AI to a very high level, yet the new Norm accidentally proved itself to be made with natural human talent instead of being randomly generated by a few keywords. Plus, I kind of dig the storyboard art there, so that's one thing, and that's very ironic coming from a franchise that used a creepy AI-generated video as part of their marketing campaign. Also, I just like this joke.
Transitioning to what?
Another fumble!
Hopefully not a Jets fan.
Look, I'm sorry, but it's true. I actually got a chuckle out of this. I'm not a big football fan, but as a New Yorker myself, I understand how much the Jets fucking suck, and how the Giants are way better than them. Not trying to litigate anything here, but at least the new Norm knows one thing that's right. So despite being honest with their animation, what aspect truly feels unnatural about the pilot instead? The theme song, of course!
The new norm ain't the same as the old norm. Everything's changing and I don't know.
Yes, the theme song, which plays a snippet at the beginning and the extended thing at the end of the pilot, is one of the most unrealistic elements of the new norm. Why? Because it's clear that they've obviously AI generated it, of course. The lyrics to it are very boring and unoriginal. They're simple, but they're quite forgettable to remember because of how bland they are, since it was probably written by AI instead of pure human talent. In fact, it can be off-putting too. I mean, one of the lyrics go, "Thank God for Elon Musk and his shitpost memes." I mean, why would you call them shitpost memes? Memes and shitposts are technically the exact same thing. It's like saying chai tea when both words mean the same thing, and therefore should be combined into one noun. Would I dare ask you for some memes with the side of likes? But the real giveaway is that it sounds artificial, which makes it an AI-generated theme song to me. I mean, if you hear the inconsistent voice coding through the pilot, you'll soon realize that it's the same robotic voice pattern of a generic artificial male country singer, which can be heard through multiple AI-generated parody country songs, such as those made by Little Pablo.
The new norm ain't the same as the old norm. Everything's changing and I don't know when. This woke nightmare will end, thank God for Elon Musk and his shitpost memes. X is the home for free speech.
I've been cooking meth in my RV in the outskirts of Topeka. I've been smoking meth again, yes I'm a tweaker. My only income is cooking and selling meth and selling scrap metal. If the police try to pull me over, I'm going full throttle on the pedal, twisting the bowl all day and night, just to cook this dope and get it right. But I had made a huge mistake, cause I blew my meth lab.
I mean, I guess it does make sense since this is supposed to be a conservative-influenced show. And a lot of conservatives praise the use of artificial intelligence and crypto despite technology bad literally being part of their alphabet. You boomers complain about how you can't use the simplest devices like your cell phones, yet promote something so sketchy and complicated like AI and cryptocurrencies. I'm just a college sophomore and I don't even know how to invest in that shit myself yet. But this is where things start going sour, as I can't explain any more good things about the show other than those first two aspects. You see, this show isn't even 90% good in my opinion. It's actually bad. Really, really bad. But Daddy, you haven't addressed more of that stuff yet. What stuff? You haven't addressed more good things about the show. Chill, I only pointed out like 2 positive factors of it. Why are you so negative? God damn it, Spider Kid. I haven't explained all of the reasons of why this show is bad yet. I thought you cared about your passion. Of course I do. I'm literally doing it right now. Now leave me the fuck alone so I can continue reviewing this shit. Oh, okay. So as I was saying, the chances of the new norm being this good are off by 1,000 yards because it's boring, unfunny, unoriginal, and too obvious that they're pandering to some kind of social or political group. And all of that made me suggest it is, starting from the pilot alone. The story begins with Norm being shocked to discover that his favorite beer has gone woke, only to reveal that he's been under house arrest for threatening his daughter's school board for not accepting his beliefs. Then his wife comes home with his daughter's boyfriend, who lectures Norm about his job and purpose in life. Norm learns that he has to provide hospice care for the boyfriend staying over for now. Then Norm's friend and boss and boyfriend, Charlie, enters the house to watch football with Norm, talking about how his son is thinking about transitioning. Charlie then confronts the boyfriend for allegedly spreading his influence onto the kid, which leads the pink-haired fruitcake to corner behind behind the couch and contact their odd-looking supervisors in the government about regretting this. Norm then opens the rainbow can of beer and it explodes in his face, ending with the entire thing being filmed on camera in front of a live studio audience like a true sitcom. Also, Elon Musk makes a non-vocal cameo appearance too. I don't know why. I guess this show really likes their grifters. But in a sudden twist, Norm's wife reveals to the family that she's bought tickets to Disney World, and the pilot ends on a cliffhanger. As you can see from the story itself, it's not very magical to begin with. It's a boring plot to begin a pilot with, and it's really unfunny. Aside from that one joke about the jets, the humor mostly relies on trying to oppose the current mindset of our generation, most likely a progressive one. Even the lack of gags and funny visuals just leave all of the room for the obvious dull rage bait of the humor to reside. And it doesn't make sense because the premise of All in the Family, the show that the new Norm wants to be so badly, is about the progression of an old man slowly flowing with the changes of society, even if he still retains his stubbornness about it. This show is like that, except its execution is like the opposite, and it's clear the writers of the new Norm are so different from Norm and Leah because of their decisions. Instead, the new Norm shows an old man who doesn't even progress at all. He just goes on with the wild accusations of the modern world that prevents him from changing as a person. Like, if he's still stuck in his timeline of being racist and this show doesn't want him to flow with the changes of society at all. Instead, they're antagonizing the society we live in and have Norm support all of these other politicians who don't seem to have a good track record at all. Now, I get it. I know it's hard to deal with this woke culture sometimes, especially if you're from a much older demographic who thought was better off before. Even I get annoyed by it sometimes, and I live in a predominantly blue-collar neighborhood. But I can't stand someone who has the absolute balls to support and dick-ride the most dirty, ugly, stuck-up, shit-eating, cock-sucking, butt-fucking, penis-smelling, crotch-grabbing, ball-licking, semen-drinking, dog-raping, Nazi-loving, child-touching, self-centered, homophobic, transphobic, racist, toilet-kissing, snot-spitting, urine-goggling, piss-swimming, beef-shitting, diarrhea-dining, fart-sniffing, galaxy gas-inhaling, lunchy-lunching, mold-munching, yiff-gooning, content-farming, content-stealing, diddy-devoting, clout-chasing, mass advertising, Trump-voting, faggot-prancing, ketamine-consuming, SoundCloud-rapping, Roblox-playing, Reddit karma-collecting, yaoi fanfic-writing, bussy-bumping, soft-blocking, bot-building, copyright-striking, lolly-liking, commie-caressing, pants-soiling, crack-smoking, fentanyl-feasting, demon-doing, talk-to-a-podcast listening, KSI-obsessing, crypto-clutching, Concord-playing, Minecraft-manhunting, pedophile-defending, slop-reviewing, douchebag, narcissist, unfunny, stupid fucking asshole! Elon Musk. And I'm not against shows with conservative families in general. In fact, I like the idea of having more of them these days. What makes them work, unlike the new Norm, is about how these people live their life as they adapt to the modern world. It may not be easy to master, but at least they don't constantly shove their agenda down your throat and try to brainwash a newer generation. Unlike shows like the new Norm and Mr. Burcham. And I could think of one perfect example that's like that. The King of the Hill is about a conservative father raising a family household in the great state of Texas. But what makes him such a fascinating character, even as a conservative father, is that he can adapt to the changes of this world without throwing a tantrum about it. Sure, he may not understand the concepts of it, and that's okay. It takes time for him to understand these certain concepts that he's not familiar of, and that leads to his curiosity of things, even after all the things that still makes him confused. But curiosity can lead to trying new things, and that allows him to slowly accept the flow of change in our society. And yeah, he can feel free to teach others the old-fashioned ways of selling propane or other Texan traditions, but he's not afraid to welcome any other person or thing that's different from him to try the stuff he likes sometimes. In light of this, Hank Hill wouldn't push anyone away who wants to learn more about him, and exchange interests. He has stereotypical views about the land and the society that dwells on it, but he wouldn't try to act hard like a salty hater about it, even if he doesn't grasp the full concepts of it yet. Unlike Num, who is like the kid who hates broccoli, even after not having one bite of it. But with Num, he just seems so germophobic of it. He won't accept any other belief other than his, even if he is confused by it. He thinks he can be against most of America for being too woke, and that he'll be an alright person after all, but that continues to make him a miserable person because of that. The show is fed on the paranoid belief that the government is run by these weird, woke alien creatures, when in reality they're much experienced people who went to college and are smart enough to form reasonable opinions and such. Both liberal and conservative. The new norm, however, also directly seems to flash propaganda that promotes a single candidate like Donald Trump or some tech mogul who doesn't give much of a crap about this show yet. The same mogul who continues ruining this website for me to use this day. There's also another show I can compare unfavorably to the new norm too, and that is the animated series Wait Till Your Father Gets Home.
Slightest little thing goes wrong.
When Hanna-Barbera wanted to dip their feet into the world of politics after All in the Family in the early 70s, they came up with Wait Till Your Father Gets Home. The premise was similar enough. You have a working blue-collar dad raising his family in a conservative household in California, along with a hippie son too. And since when did Velma begin investigating the fridge? They say that the cartoon is likely comparable to Family Guy and King of the Hill, but I beg to differ as to compare it to All in the Family more, which this show was heavily inspired by, because not even Peter Griffin and Hank Hill are this conservative compared to the main character, because this guy is way more conservative than them. But what Wait Till Your Father Gets Home does best that the new norm doesn't is their humor. Keep in mind that aside from this show supposing to be about politics, it was still a Hanna-Barbera cartoon too, so it wouldn't be doubtful that they retained the same cartoon spirit within it. It had gags that were on the same level as any other Hanna-Barbera show, and even maintained a laugh track for certain funny moments in the show. The new norm, however, puts the laugh tracks in every joke they attempt to make in the pilot, and most of them don't seem precise in their location at all. It can be inconsistent and annoying, giving off the vibe that it never shuts the fuck up. Kinda like with The Magic Voyage, or the shitty English dub of The Thief and the Cobbler. Plus, the animation doesn't seem elastic enough to put those jokes in action. Again, Hanna-Barbera specialized in limited animation, but even they made it funny to watch for Wait Till Your Father Gets Home. This show isn't even pushing some kind of agenda neither, it's just doing its best in portraying the average conservative household with goofy neighbors and stuff. How life is by being on one side. To me, Wait Till Your Father Gets Home is an underrated masterpiece in the Hanna-Barbera library, and you could still watch it on MeTV Toons. Trust me, it's really good. The new norm isn't about the freedom of speech or expression at all, it's just about making fun of people who have the freedom to be whoever they want and project the conspiracy that the government is corrupt, along with how a person with multiple felonies and a diverse weirdo are going to save this country. And if the plot just revolves around spreading your ideas while portraying opposing minority groups as alien invaders attacking your homeland who try to spread their ideas, then the story is really fucking shit after all. Wow! You must sound really thirsty after that meltdown! How about trying that energy drink? No thanks. I think I'm good enough. Okay, well, I'm thirsty! Really? Well then, Spider Kid, this sells for you. But I can't drink energy drinks! I'm not 12 yet! You convinced me to play every Sonic game with a controller, but draw the line at energy drinks? Well, I'm more of a prime hydration kind of guy. Can't do this. It's too risky. Yes, we can! Beep, boop, boop, beep. Find a way to break him. Maybe we can fix the industry. Look, I know he's just a critic, judging indie animation now, but I don't want to cross him, not after he took me in, you know? Well, we got to do something before he starts criticizing our shows next. Oh please, he's at his 7th episode so far. I'm sure he'll eventually crack after he makes like 3 more. This guy looks like he cares about his channel more than his grades. Soon he'll have the ability to rant on all of us if he's got enough energy. That fat bastard wouldn't even drink Celsius energy after I slapped a tape on the can and labeled it as cis. He'll tire himself out eventually. Meow. First, it was Fanny and the Pack. Then it was Analog. Then suddenly, Punch Punch Forever and Dungeon Flippers got the mouth. He even went after a local project called Mammal Squad or something. Hell, he even reviewed that fundamental paper education thing, and that one's especially risky to review regarding its community size. At this rate, we could be next. You hear? What's he reviewing now? I don't know, some show called The New Norm. Of course, fuck, it's genius. Why didn't I think of that? I could have based my show's entire humor on their blunt conservative beliefs instead of swear words and sex jokes. And also replace that gay spider dude with Elon Musk. You know, for someone who's negative as hell, at least he isn't like one of those commentary YouTubers that defends ditties in the art community, unlike a certain robot. Look, I'll try my best to stall him as long as I can before he edits and uploads the next review on YouTube. But I'm not letting him throw me in the Toys for Tots donation bin if I blow my cover as a spy. You hear? Just do whatever you can to stop him from reviewing us. The fate of indie animation depends on it. The animation in The New Norm is also pretty lazy. I get that it's a small indie project trying to make a name for itself on X, but it just gives off weird Family Guy ripoff vibes. I'm not trying to deflect on my previous statement of it, in which I credited The New Norm for being animated and storyboarded, because it is animated, just not very well. The character rigs and designs look fairly cheap and half-empty for an animated adult sitcom, and not even the low frame rate could compromise for its fairly dull flash animation. I mean, it does look a bit cleaner with their outlines compared to their original conceptualization of it. You know, where Joe Rogan is a little manlet for some reason. But overall, the animation looks dull and probably fits well with the demographic that it's thriving in. Boring men in dull business suits voting for bland old men who say stupid shit and hate the youth. And I don't think they'd ever care enough to improve the animation because they used AI generated shit to promote their show before. Like they even whitewashed Donald Trump too. What the fuck, man? But let's not forget about the characters. Ah yes, the old looking bunch that isn't even colorful at all. I mean, some of them are literally just stereotypes. We have Janice, the BBW wife of Norm. She acts like the normal housewife who thinks that Norm couldn't look after himself and walks on both sides of the political spectrum. She does show a heart of kindness after buying the family tickets to Disney World, so...
I almost forgot! We're going to Disney World!
There's Norm's daughter, the one who's trying to get Norm to adapt to the woke lifestyle even after being blamed by him for putting him under house arrest.
You're the one who threatened the school board.
I gently suggested
Yelled.
they stop brainwashing my daughter that girls aren't girls and men aren't men.
There's her emotional support dog, Billy, who's non-binary.
It's okay. Billy is an emotional support dog. And non-binary.
Oh, okay then. Good dog.
There's Charlie, Norm's friend and boss. I assume having a black character in this show is an apparent shtick to claim that this show isn't racist, because having black friends means you can't be racist. I don't know if they just put him there for no reason, or they just wanted to prove that they have inclusivity in the show and that black conservatives like Charlie exist. The guy's wearing a Washington Redskins shirt for Pete's sake. Some may suspect he's a bargaining chip to prevent critics and liberals from accusing this show of being racist. Now I'm gonna side with that on this one, since this show is supporting a goofy far-right belief that a nationality mostly composed of black people are eating dogs and cats.
Racist?
Charlie, finally, someone normal.
I don't understand. You're black.
Did that just Black Whisper?
You're his friend?
And we have Chaz, who's part of the government program controlled by a bunch of freaky-looking individuals in the office. This is where things start to get obvious, as this show blatantly exposes the harmful stereotype to our eyes. Chaz is portrayed to be part of the woke minority group and dresses them up like a gay Buddhist in an auto repair shop, or a punk rocker in a hardware store. Chaz, along with their associates, just blooms this show's blunt homophobia and narcissism of its own party, as they try to make the society on the other side look like complete ignorant buffoons and illustrating the government to be full of them too. Okay, so they're gay. I guess they slay. But what's your problem with them coexisting anyway? Like, it's fine to portray your government in a ruthless imagination or illustration to travel your point across. Make them be pigs or dull Nazi monsters, but this is just too obvious to tell you are wanting to create another Jim Crow. But in short, Chaz is just an obvious caricature of people the show hates, and he's there so the creators can feel superior against them. But most importantly, we have Norm, the main character of the show. I've even discussed the unfavorable comparison between Norm and Hank Hill before this video, but I think his character as a whole defines my show's entire opinion of being bad. He's a stubborn asshole who doesn't want to adapt to changes in this world, even if he never changes himself. He was the only one who blasted the school board for being too woke and complains about everything not being his way instead of accepting the changes. The only person he bonds with is his friend and boss Charlie, who shares the same political opinions together as conservatives. Norm is the one who threw a hissy fit because his beer was covered in rainbows and how he's under house arrest for threatening his daughter's school board. Now I get he's an old man and it will likely be impossible for him to accept the changes with his daughter and family in general. It's like the saying goes, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but even Hank Hill has his standards and can be nicer to those around them instead of pushing them away, even if he doesn't truly understand them at all. Unlike Norm, who ought to be this lousy Archie Bunker knockoff that's faithful to the original product, except he's marketing the likeness of folks he likes to a much broader and more naive demographic, like selling snake oil in a bottle. Also, we have this weird-ass robot who detects if Norm is being offensive or not. I'm speechless about what more this thing can do. I mean, look at it. It looks like Otto from WALL-E if he was manufactured by Aperture Laboratories. He's like if HAL 9000 and Wheatley had a baby.
Fatty, no. Thank God for Elon Musk. And his shit goes.
And not to mention the cameo made by that dirty, ugly, stuck-up, shit-eating, cock-sucking, butt-fucking, penis-smelling, crotch-grabbing, ball-licking, semen-drinking, dog-raping, Nazi-loving, child-touching, self-centered, homophobic, transphobic, racist, toilet-kissing, snot-spitting, urine-goggling, piss-swimming, beef-shitting, diarrhea-dining, fart-sniffing, minor-mingling, riz-lacking, hentai-edging, Hitler-hugging, ball-busting, tax-write-offing, idea-robbing, testicle-twisting, swashbuckling, wages-sinking, pube-combing, Logan Paul fanboying, copyright infringing, heartless, brainless, spineless, dickless, bootless, soulless, jobless, say what you want about Norm and the rest of the characters, like as if he's secretly gay for his lover Charlie, but I'm just telling the truth as it is. The characters are complete ass and aren't that relatable enough, but they don't fail at being offensive and pathetic for what it's worth. Bohemius? Yeah, kid. I'm sorry that I replaced your energy drink with woke stuff. Oh, it's fine. No worries. I'm not feeling thirsty as of right now. You know what I learned today? I learned that you can have different opinions about the things you love or not, and still be friends with each other if you don't agree with them. That's the spirit, kid. So, I'm okay if you don't like the new Norm. I was never really a fan of it anyway. That's nice, kid. Can I finish the video, please? Of course! Thank you. For something being regarded as the first animated sitcom on X, one could only imagine it ought to be good, but it's not. It's actually a terrible indie animation, especially if you're into politics. With a forgettable and unfunny plot, dull characters, and borderline lazy animation, I wouldn't recommend anybody to watch this. It lives for the joke of offending people instead of provoking authentic emotion between opposite forces, and attempts you to stay for their bootlicking of folks like Elon Musk. Even if you want something like All in the Family or King of the Hill, I wouldn't recommend you this show, not one bit, even if you're a conservative yourself. As of right now, they've been keeping active on their account by posting random conservative slop, with Nerm and Charlie reacting. And they even have a MyPillow sponsor too. They're also in talks of uploading a second episode soon, which they've been marketing a lot lately. And I know a lot of people, especially trolls, who pretend to like the show only to draw yaoi art, and this guy specifically are getting hyped for its release. But given my stance on judging this show based on its pilot alone, I'd give it a hard pass. It may technically count as indie animation because it's exclusively available online and not made by some big box studio, but even I have my standards when it comes to reviewing things, and I still have my valid reasons on why this show sucks ass and beyond. But here's to holding out for the new Nerm so they can draw the old man pregnant or in a maid outfit. As for me, well, I guess I am pretty thirsty from doing this review. After all, I just want a normal energy drink.
Indiehemius ain't the same as the Yogohemius. Everything's brain rot and I don't know when this cringe nightmare will end. Thank God for cheating. Japan's crazy mascot. Twitter's free from bad ads.
I almost forgot. We're going to Chuck E. Cheese!
Yeah! Make the internet feel judgment again.